And there we go. Right, cool. Stuff that P star pisses me off. That's kind of based on me currently releasing a new product or creating a new course, and in the process of doing this, researching this, creating the course, putting it online, I encountered so many things which annoy me. Let's use the word annoy. Some of them are things I've basically done over and over again. I kind of gotten used to it, but still, thinking about it was just like, hang on, this is really annoying. So this whole thing came about because I was talking to Alex. Alex is kind of Alex has great ideas. Do you know Alex? I've kind of mentioned him a few times. Alex from the Ukraine. Just type in the chat box if you know whom I'm talking about. No. Okay, right. So cool. Met Alex, oh god, a year ago. So he was on my list. We started talking about all kinds of things, and he has been online for a couple of years, and he's kind of been stuck at the laptop, not even the desktop, at the laptop for a couple of years, and he's not really moving forward. And his biggest problem is that he's got fantastic ideas, and he really does. For example, the other day I sent you an email regarding that Hangouts overlay thing, Hangouts and video overlays. Right? That was his idea. So he came up with the idea, approached Bertrando and said, hey, Bertrando, you've done plenty of sort of video plugins type things. Shall we do that together? He actually approached me with another idea for an offline product, which we have now done, and we shall be releasing very soon. So Alex is very, very good at coming up with ideas. But he came to me because he said, look, I've got all these ideas, but I don't know if I can get them online, if I can get this stuff published, if I'm good enough, and all that kind of thing. And even when I try, there's so many obstacles, it's just, it's too frustrating. So, long story short, we started chatting again, or we continually chat, and we had a conversation a couple of days ago about a particular thing he wanted to do, and it turns out it's all these little technical hurdles, it's false beliefs, or these sort of myths that are being propagated in the market. So I decided to, rather than teach one particular thing or talk about one particular topic, today is open mic for anyone who is annoyed by stuff and would like to have a solution to that stuff. I'm going to kick it off with a couple of things I have observed that annoy me, but I really encourage you to basically dive in and leave comments, and we can unmute you, you can talk, we can have a conversation, we can chat, we can figure out what's holding you back, so we can move you forward, because in most cases, someone out there will know the solution. I mean, if you're not active in various Skype groups, for example, that's something I highly encourage. With all these things, it's much quicker to find find a solution in a group of like-minded people. That's why I'm active in a fair number of Skype groups. When there's one group which is specialized in copywriting, so when I've got a copywriting question, there's another one where people are fairly technical, and so on and on and on. Anyway, so that's the deal for today. There's no big structure. There's one more slide. This is the title slide, and then there's this here. Oh look, it's not even with fancy bullet points. So we do fancy bullet points? Come on, let's do fancy bullet points. Just because we can. And here is the first thing that annoys me. Windows 7, when you install it in Germany, because I'm based in Germany, it's a UK English license, okay? This is, it comes in a box, everything is in English, but because it's kind of looks at your IP address, says you are based in Germany, and now I'm going to speak German to you, and everything that is Microsoft is going to speak German to you. Now, in Word, personally, I don't really mind, because I understand all these terms up here. That's no problem. But when I go to Excel spreadsheets, all the formulas are now in German, and of course, I have no idea how to translate all these different terms. I mean, yeah, sum I can do, and mean and average and that kind of stuff I can't do. But all the other stuff I spend, years, over the years I've acquired all kinds of knowledge on how to do Microsoft, and to do Microsoft Excel. It's all gone now because Windows 7 insists that we speak German. There you go. So that's my first little rant here. And there is nothing you can do about it. Sorry, you can't change this. Alrighty, let's dive in then. The first one that is annoying me ever so slightly is the myth that goes around that traffic is the lifeblood of your business. Without traffic, you can't live. Now, let me go very high level and give you the opposite straight away. Like everyone knows, everyone has heard this one before, that it is 10 times, 20 times easier to tell something. Yes, it is 20 times easier to tell, but also to sell something to an existing customer than it is to acquire a new customer. Meaning the biggest cost in an entire business relationship is acquiring a new customer. Yet, there are all these courses out there, all these gurus propagating or distributing this myth that traffic is the lifeblood of your business, that the most important thing in the world is traffic. If you don't have traffic, your business is going to go under. And really, the only people who are really making, or those who are making the biggest money with this kind of thing, is Facebook, because they sell Facebook advertising. It's Google, because they sell PPC ads. And when you look at those guys, they're making a ton of money from people who basically try out PPC, they try out, putting on the various ads, and after a while give up because they can't make it work. So it's not only shady internet marketing characters who make a lot of money by selling you courses and SEO plugins and all that kind of stuff. It's even the very big players, because there's so many people on this planet who buy into this traffic dream that all your problems are going to go away once you've got enough traffic, that even the big players like Google and Facebook, they don't care whether you have a good outcome, because there are just enough people who will try out PPC and send them their money. Alrighty, let me have a quick look here at comments. Actually, what I'm going to do is close the door. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, comments. Facebook shutting down my payment facility. Final. No reason, no communication. Don't even know what I'm supposed to have done. WTF. Your payment facility. Udo, expand on that. I'm not entirely sure. Payment facility within Facebook. Alright, Alex says, without traffic, how will you get the first customer? Yes, absolutely. Okay, there's a big difference between traffic is the lifeblood of your business and getting the right amount of traffic. Righty? Overall, traffic is pretty much traffic in the sense of having a steady stream of traffic is the last thing you want. Basically, your job as an internet marketer, and I think I did a blog post on that, is to create profitable marketing systems where you go and figure out, if I look at this particular traffic source over here and I get people from there, I divert traffic from that particular traffic source. You can't drive traffic. That's one thing. You can go to places where people are hanging out. You can somehow attract attention and get them over to your offer. That's what you can do. And so the first thing you want to do is basically you need to figure out what is a good offer that resonates with that particular audience. So you can go over there and put up your poster and say, hey, if you're interested in this, come over to my site. And then once they're on your website, for example, or they give you a phone call or whatever it is, they go to your webinar. Then your next job is to figure out how to create massive value for your visitors, and in exchange, hopefully get something in return. That could be a foot massage, that could be goodwill referrals, or of course, good old-fashioned cash. Only when you have that in place, then do you start working on building a system where you constantly drive traffic. And the beauty is, once you've built that system, this thing that here's a good ad that resonates with my target audience, here's a good, let's call it sales funnel, that then converts the visitor into money. Once you've got that into place, then you can scale up your traffic. But before you've got that in place, traffic is the worst thing you can really have. I mean, some people go in and they throw a lot of money at traffic, and they get tons of traffic to their website. And typically, they either don't convert, and that's probably true for the majority of people, or it kind of masks the fact that you are doing a really shoddy job providing value and getting paid in return. So overall, the answer is yes. Of course, you need some traffic. You need some people to validate what you're doing, to say, okay, this is clearly a good offer, or this is clearly a rubbish offer, and this is clearly a well-designed sales funnel, or this is clearly a rubbish sales funnel. And there's no such thing as rubbish or something that's inherently rubbish. It's just what you've got there is not a particularly good match for the traffic source you've chosen, which of course opens a whole other can of worms, because most people go in and it's like, okay, I put up my ads and no one responded to it, therefore my ads are shit, I have to go and do something else. Well, no. Really what's happening is that that particular offer didn't resonate with that particular target audience. And even with that target audience, now we're looking a little bit closer. Well, say you're going to YouTube videos. Okay, you say, well, I tried out video traffic and my thing didn't work. Well, once again, within video traffic, you find all kinds of different target audiences. So if you then go in and really define what is your target audience within the space of YouTube traffic, people who watch YouTube videos, then you're starting to really hone in on a particular target audience combined with where they're hanging out. And now you can design your traffic, your offer and your sales funnel on the back of it. So all in all, the traffic is lifeblood. It annoys me because there are tons of people out there who flog courses. Hey, you can get 1 cent clicks on Facebook. You can get 1 million views on various PPV platforms. You can get AdMob mobile ads for like 1/10 of a cent per click, etc. Most people, no, not most people, everyone, absolutely everyone must first figure out who's my target audience, where do they hang out, and if it's a large traffic source, if they hang out at a festival for people who are into the study of necrophilia in the 17th century French literature, cool. That's a fairly defined target audience, and if they're at a particular conference, I don't need to go any further in terms of splitting them into subgroups. But if I am at a Comic-Con, if I'm at Comic-Con, the big comic and whatever sort of fantasy character festival somewhere in the US, I only know it through The Big Bang Theory, so I don't actually know if it really exists, but I believe it does. It's sort of a giant anything to do with comics. People get together there. That in itself, that conference, is not a particularly good traffic source apart from the one thing they all have in common: they're all into comics. But if you really want to talk to someone at a very specific level so you can provide massive value, then you have to go, all right, you're actually into Star Trek. Well, actually, not just into Star Trek, you're into Star Trek, whatever, first generation or second generation or whatever it is. And then you can start taking that subgroup out of the Comic-Con target audience, which is all hanging out at the live conference. And that is exactly what we've got here. The traffic is lifeblood in the sense that yes, once you've got that system set up, then traffic definitely is lifeblood. However, it should always be considered the fuel or the starter fuel for building a proper, not only sales funnel, but focusing on the back end of your sales funnel, where you build a great relationship with your customers and then keep fulfilling or keep figuring out. And this doesn't have to be underhand, just ask them, figuring out what other problems people have and then go and solve it for them. So once you've got that relationship in place, then you keep solving problems. So the traffic, yes, you need to do your market research a little bit. You need a little bit to validate all the assumptions you're making. You need a few to replace people who've basically lost interest in what you're doing, and you need some fresh traffic to replace people you're firing because they're not good customers, all that kind of stuff. But it's not the case that traffic is the one and only thing you need, and once you've got traffic in place, then everything else falls into place. It's the opposite. Alrighty, I have got comments galore here, so let me look at these. Oh, Udo says, won't let me pay for ads with credit card or PayPal. That's not nice. Well, I know it's against their terms of service to have a different account, but I'm sure you have a sister, a brother, a neighbor, someone with a Facebook account. Just use theirs. And by the way, it hasn't happened to me yet, touch wood, so Sorry, I can't help you with that. Shutting down your payment facility. Did you go overdrawn, or did a PayPal payment bounce or something like that? But if you're shutting down both your credit card and PayPal, I imagine they got so pissed off with some of the ads you submitted that they just went, okay, buff, see you. Regarding Facebook, a trick I just learned is that if you've got ads that are, let's not even say questionable, but look, the other day I submitted some ads with a question mark in the middle of the screen, or of the picture. You've got that little image, the preview image, and I had a question mark in there. And they got rejected because I've forgotten the text, but it's basically, I'm paraphrasing now, because it resembles a play button and suggests a video play functionality, which clearly is not present. I mean, what the WTF? I mean, that annoys me. If someone is such a monkey that they assume that a question mark suggests a play functionality. Just a little survey here. If you see question mark on a picture, do you think there's a video behind it? Well, whatever. Yeah, exactly. No, you wouldn't. Yes, with Udo saying with PayPal at the moment, it's just they are rejecting whole campaigns. They just go, well, I don't like it. Thank you very much. They don't like one or two of your ads, and apparently they just shut you down. So Facebook are at the phase where Google were a couple of years ago, where they just went, we're so big, we're growing so fast, we can screw you all. We're only interested in the top guys. And suddenly they're coming back. It's like, ooh, look, growth isn't that big anymore. Let's attract people and ask them to come back. Alrighty, Robin says, setting the Windows language to English as default will not change the Office language to English if you have installed the German version of Office 2007. No, I bought Windows 7 UK version, Windows Office 2010 UK version, and this whole thing just went, you are in Germany and therefore you must want German. That's the end of that. So there you go. 1 cent clicks is done by having a target audience and landing spot. FB shotgun is more expensive. Yeah, I know, you can do the 1 cent clicks on Facebook, but in general, now here's the big thing, all right? Traffic it appeals to a lot of people because they're not getting great results, so they're thinking, all right, if I get free traffic or 1 cent traffic, then it's going to make up for my lack of progress so far. The reality is you should really do the opposite. You should go and try to get the most expensive traffic in the world, because in general, I mean, unless you're really in general, the cost of traffic is related to the quality of the traffic you're getting. Traffic on Facebook is really cheap for the dog niches, the gun rights niches, for all that viral poo, and so it is cheap for a reason, because it's very hard to monetize that traffic. Whereas if you've got really targeted traffic, people who are looking for very specific solutions in, for example, marketing, well, that's more expensive. And the same goes, lawyers on Google. So if it's cheap right now, there is a small chance it is because there's a loophole, no one else has discovered it. But reality is there are so many of us, so many marketers, so many people who want traffic, that sooner or later the person offering the traffic or the company offering the traffic figures out, oh look, there's enough competition, and the price will go up. So really, if you're going for the super cheap traffic, yes, you can get lots of it, but in general, it's less targeted than the more expensive traffic, and then you have to do a lot of jumping through hoops, a lot of dog and pony show to get people in, to really get them through your sales funnel. There are exceptions granted, no doubt about it, but in general, you're much better off biting the bullet and saying, look, here's the situation, and it's painful. It's painful because that traffic is fairly expensive. So rather than do with a mediocre offer on my website, I'm actually going to really make the effort, dive in, research what people really, really want, what their real problems are, solve that for them, and get paid handsomely in return. And then you can pay for that expensive all day long. Udo says, my first 2 ads didn't even go live. Well, that might be it. If that was your first 2 ads and they didn't go live because they hated you so much, then... Or did they disapprove your first 2 ads and the first 2 ever in that account, or not? Alrighty, so traffic is lifeblood, which of course, related to that is SEO is awesome for you. There are countless SEO offers. There is software, there are courses, there are coaching groups, and a kind of, I wouldn't say I'm jealous, I'm baffled when I look at some of the people out there who've got membership sites with thousands, I mean literally thousands of people who pay them between $47 and $97 a month for basically the same thing over and over again. When you do SEO, you can do it black hat or white hat. Black hat is building backlinks, and here are the different ways of doing it. And yes, you need to structure your site a little bit, do some on-site. Or you do it the white hat way, which is primarily finding traffic sources where real people come and visit your website, and as a side benefit, oh look, I've got a link. That is the big difference, okay? I should really set up a membership site and teach you what I've just told you in the last 20 seconds and charge $97 a month for it. So I'm just sometimes thinking, okay, come on. Anyway, let me quickly answer Udo's question here. First 2 ads ever were approved, and then they were discovered unusual activity. Oh, all right. I have no idea what that means. I've never seen anyone talk about unusual activity with Facebook ads. But it should be in their interest, right? I mean, the more unusual... Well, what I can imagine is, did you have a link on there that says, go to this website, as opposed to... Okay, first question. Did you have a CPC or CPM model? And whilst we're waiting for Udo to respond to that, let's look at SEO is awesome for you. So, SEO, most people go into SEO thinking it is free traffic, which is like the better version of cheap traffic. Don't we all love super cheap traffic, namely free traffic? Now, once again, there is a direct correlation between traffic that's worth something and traffic that's not worth anything. So, I've personally done this. I've been there. I've done the whole black, gray, shoddy backlinking nonsense. I've optimized for traffic. And I can tell you this now with authority. Here's me with real authority. The one and only right way of doing SEO is to go in and test and optimize your traffic, your offer with paid traffic. You go in, you do a couple of PPC ads wherever you can get traffic from. And the important thing is it has to be repeatable traffic. So if you go in and, for example, do a mailing from either a JV partner or a solo ad or something, that is something where you can't repeat the traffic. And that makes it virtually impossible to really test and optimize your offer you've got there. So say you're going to a particular solo ad vendor and they can send you whatever, 500 clicks. That's the only thing they can send you. Well, it's going to be very difficult to really optimize the ad, the whole sales funnel, figure out the lifetime value of your customers, etc., with just 500 clicks. Realistically, you're going to need more than that. And that's why you need to go to a traffic source where you can get more than a couple of hundred clicks. Once you've got that figured out, then SEO definitely is the gravy. Then free traffic, I totally agree with this, then SEO is awesome. But if you go in and start your whole backlinking and the on-page optimization, etc., without knowing whether that particular keyword you're now targeting is actually a real buying keyword, then you are potentially wasting, and in most cases you are wasting a lot of resources on backlinking, on just the time spent doing all this whole market samurai and keyword research tools and blah blah blah. Going back to the I am pissed off, right? It pisses me off when I see these things that go, or all the sales letters go, discover the hidden pockets, or here the undiscovered niches, the hidden niches no one's ever seen before. Or you go to the Warrior Forum, whatever, and you see reports that say, hey, look, here's a report on how to do, how to sell stuff on Amazon, including the top 100 keywords research for you. Yeah, bullshit. I mean, sorry, today I'm going to use foul language, okay? This is the pissed off talk here. That is complete and utter bullshit. No one, not a single person, I can guarantee, of the people who have, who are selling these products on, this is how you dominate whatever the Canon 100, S100 market, okay? Here are the top buying keywords for that. They haven't done that properly. They haven't done the research if those are truly buying keywords or if they're browsing keywords or just general interest keywords. Just a quick hands up. I don't know if you've been on my calls before. Are you familiar with my classic tattoo example? One of my early big mistakes, and it's worth repeating if you haven't heard it. No, you're not? Okay, let me just tell you then my absolute biggest foul up in terms of SEO. So, bought a course, a ready researched niche, including here are the offers you can promote. This is the traffic overall interest in this niche. These are the landing pages that convert, and here is the fully researched set of keywords. And it was in the tattoo niche. So I bought this, and thank you, Stephen Wagenheim, for selling me bullshit, and me giving me the opportunity to give you $47 for it. So I then went out and set up the site and started backlinking like mad, and actually bought links and all that kind of stuff. That was in the good old days when I still did crap like this, and I did get page 1 rankings. So I had my tattoo site, Tattoo Designs for Men, which no longer exists, and I let it expire. Don't get it; it really isn't worth it. So Tattoo Designs for Men, 12,100 exact match searches every month. So I was on page 1 and getting really good traffic. I mean, sensational, hundreds of visitors, and the thing made no money whatsoever. It's like, all right, how come? What's going on here? Stephen told me promote these offers, and I'm making no sales whatsoever. So I started split testing different offers, sending traffic to various offers, pre-selling, everything. I think in the entire time I nursed this one particular project, I made one sale, like, I don't know, $20 commission. That was it. Turns out, years later, the first warning sign I should have listened to was Frank Kern. Somewhere I heard Frank Kern say, oh, by the way, I tried to make it in the tattoo niche and I failed miserably. And there's me thinking, oh, yeah, no worries, Frank, I can do it. It's like, no, Frank was right. You can't make money online. It is extremely hard, extremely, extremely hard to make money in the tattoo niche online. And years later, talking to someone who's now a friend who has a tattoo. Before then, I didn't, before Jeff, I didn't know anyone who had tattoos. So, I just went in blindly. It's like, okay, I follow Steve's advice. Talking to Jeff, turns out the guys who make the tattoo, who stick needles in your arm, they consider themselves artists and not a factory for taking a ready-made design and sticking it up on your arm. So if you waltz in there with a tattoo design you downloaded from the internet and say, look, Meister, burn this onto my arm, you kind of annoy them. And they don't quite feel like Picasso, but there is a certain element of art involved. And they don't want you to come in and say, this is exactly photocopied onto my arm. And that's why, and anyone who's got a tattoo apparently knows this. So that is why it's really, really hard to sell anything tattoo related, tattoo design databases through the internet. Alrighty, let me have a quick look at the various comments here, then we can go on, right? So Udo went for the CPC model. Larry says, did you switch the ad after approval? So that's the first thing. Okay, if you had a CPC, Facebook earn, I just want to see, unusual activity on the payment account. You use it daily for all sorts of stuff online, have for years, but let's not waste time. Okay, Udo says, let's not waste any more time on this. So it's very hard to reverse engineer and figure out what happened there. But if they say unusual activity on your payment account, the only thing I can imagine is that they try to cash their, they basically have an agreement now to access your whatever credit card or PayPal account. Maybe it got bounced and they just went, look, it's not worth our while. Boom, thank you very much. Alrighty, Larry says, what did you say about solo ads? 200 is not enough. Good if you have 500 to test. Larry, it all depends. Okay, let's put it this way: 500 certainly is better than 200, and 200 is better than nothing. But think about it: a good sales funnel consists of several stages. Okay, in the beginning, you have to have an ad. You need to figure out, does this particular ad kind of going to excite my target audience, the people who are going about their daily lives? If they now get an email, a solo ad email, are they excited enough by, well, actually, it's the first thing in the case of an email is, are they excited enough by the headline to open this thing? So that's going to test number one you do. Well, in general, you can say, to have statistically significant data or insights, you need to send a good 100, or you need to have 100 people who do something or don't do something. Like, you want to have at least 100 people who are exposed to your offer, and then you get some good feedback. And if you are now dealing with the usual open rates, which is like, I don't know, 10%, you start to see that you need to send quite a bit of traffic. Now, with the solo ad, of course, they guarantee the number of clicks. So, right. But the first part is really, you've got an ad. That needs to get people excited and get them clicking. Fine. The second stage is they probably come to a landing page. Once again, say you had 1,000 clicks, and 1,000 clicks come to your landing page, and now they start opting in, and say 50% opt in. That's pretty good. So you're left with 500. They now come to your thank you page where they've got the download thing, whatever you're offering them, and cool, but maybe you're doing it properly and they need to confirm their email address. Well, out of the 500, maybe 400 will confirm their email address, so you've already lost 100. The 400 now get the first email, and really, now you're starting to test the headlines to get them to open. And if I look at my own emails, when people sign up, out of, I would say 80%, even open the first email. So out of 400, 4 times 8, 32. So 320 now open that first email. And, out of those 300, maybe, let's say, I don't know, 50% click on the link where you actually try to sell them something. So you can see how very quickly the number of people who see offer or see different parts of your sales funnel goes down dramatically. And that's why, this sounds like a bad thing. It's actually an opportunity. It's a great opportunity. Maybe as a little aside, if you think about the law of compounding, can you quickly type in, if you're familiar with the law of compounding? It's all to do with if you start saving $1 a day at the age of 6, you will be a millionaire by the age of 12 or something like that. But if you wait until you're 50 and start saving $1 a day, exactly, then okay, you're all familiar with it. Then you have no chance of ever becoming a millionaire. So it's basically because all the interest accrued over time, becomes astronomical after a long enough time. And the same applies with sales funnels. So if you create a sales funnel that has 5 stages in it, say the ad at the front, that's number one, a landing page where people can opt in. Then they come to your download page where you make an initial offer. Then you have your email sequence, that's number 4. And then you have whatever back-end element, 5. And it could be anything, could be webinars in there. So you've got 5 contact points. So a lot of people who try to double their business then go in and say, right, all I need to do is drive double the traffic, and then I'm golden. Leaving everything the way it is, if I just double my traffic, excellent. And that is one of the reasons why traffic is so exciting, or appears to be so exciting. Hey, I just doubled my traffic and everything's fine. But you're much better off looking at 5 different leverage points in your sales funnel, and quite often it's actually there's 1 or 2 where you've got the real bottleneck. But if you look at 5 different points and improve each and every one by just 15%, then by the law of compounding, if you improve traffic at the beginning of your sales funnel by only 15%, so the response to your ad by 15%, then every single stage afterwards sees 15% more traffic. Now, if you increase your second stage of your sales funnel, the squeeze page, by another 15%, now everything after the squeeze page doesn't see an increase of 15%, but 15 times 15. So whatever the number is, 0.25, 22.5%, and so on. So if you look at small leverage points across your sales funnel, you can get big leverage right at the end by looking at small changes. And it's much easier to get an improvement of click-through rate of 15%, or not necessarily get it to 15%. For example, look at Facebook. For Facebook, a typical click-through rate is 0.5%. So you don't have to go to a click-through rate of 15%, but only improve that 0.5% by 15%. So you get to 0.6 something percent. So I guess that's the side thing. So to answer Larry's question, do you need 500 to test? Now, if you've got a solo ad provider who's got a consistent stream of incoming traffic, so for example, John Cornetta, right? They don't actually grow their solo ad service by doing ad swaps with other solo ad vendors. No, they go out and they put ads all over the internet, so they have a fairly homogeneous, consistent influx of fresh subscribers to the list. And as a result, with them, you'd be okay. You can do 500, and then you have a very good idea, is my offer converting with John Cornetta's type of traffic or not? But if you have someone who basically has 500 subscribers and nothing else, well, maybe you're lucky, and at the end of the 500 clicks, you've now optimized the 5 stages of your sales funnel, but now they're out of traffic, and now you've got a beautifully designed sales funnel which works with that particular vendor's source of traffic, but they have none more, so you're kind of stuffed there. Alrighty, someone else, and unfortunately your name is popping off the side, so I'm going to have to open this. Almunir says, are you going to be doing a session solely on Service Snatcher? Please. Not today. Sure, but we can do a session on Service Snatcher, no problem. Yes, absolutely. Oh, Udo, you are speaking, the exact words I want to shout out here. Udo says, and please everyone pay attention, this is the truth. The earth is flat, and this is true. Basically, you need a business and then use the internet as a marketing medium, not the other way around. Absolutely 100% true, right? I see myself as someone who has a business, who solves problems for other people, who creates products and uses the internet to market those. And I don't use the internet exclusively, but the internet is one of my marketing channels. So when people say, are you an internet marketer? No, I'm not. I don't consider myself an internet marketer. I'm a business owner who happens to use the internet quite a bit, both for lead generation, for selling, as a selling platform, as well as doing things like this here, the webinar. So very, very true. Alrighty, SEO. So let's return to SEO is awesome. Once you've figured out what your sales funnel is, and once you've figured out, here's a sales funnel that works for a particular target audience. Now, if you're wanting to do SEO, you're typically targeting particular keywords. In that case, it absolutely makes sense to go into Google PPC, do AdWords for that particular keyword, and optimize or quickly figure out if that particular keyword is actually an audience that is interested in buying your stuff. For example, if you were to go out, and I should have done this a long time ago, and done a PPC campaign for tattoo designs or tattoo designs for men, I would have figured out, for a budget of $10 or maybe $20, that no, people who type in tattoo designs for men are not interested at all in buying stuff that is related to tattoo designs. They just want to find inspiration and show something to their friends and get some feedback from mum before they tattoo that thing on their forehead. But that's it. So what I should have done back then, and what everyone who is going out and selling courses or products where they say, 115 done for you research keywords, that's what they should be doing. And none of this, I went to the keyword tool and found this keyword, tattoo designs for men, and has 12,100 exact match searches every month. Therefore, I'm getting really, really, really excited, and I'm now going to go and invest my time and resources in this to rank for those keywords. Yes, some keywords you're going to have some traffic is going to bite. However, if you're optimizing for life insurance, whatever, you will have people who bite. Now here's the big problem. Say you get to page one of Google for life insurance. That's going to be worth quite a bit of money. The problem is you still have no idea why people are buying. You can observe that they are buying, and they take some actions on your website, and you can start testing some headlines. You can test, whatever the offer, the position of the various elements on your website, but you'll quickly hit a local minimum. I mean, you're not going to get any better. You only get better and really optimize the traffic and really maximize the ROI you're getting out of this by then going in and figuring out why people are coming to your website in the first place. Why do people type in life insurance? What is the one thing they really, really want? That is so important, because once you figure that out, you can separate yourself from all the other marketers out there, all the other guys who are optimizing and doing PPC for life insurance, because they just went, oh, look, there's awesome traffic, and lots of traffic, and therefore I'm going to put an ad up. But if you now truly speak to the emotions of the person who typed in life insurance, that's where you then, it goes exponential. Alrighty, so that is my little rant around SEO is awesome for you. Any questions around this so far? I'm just taking this as an opportunity to take a sip of water here. Nope. Okay. Little mouse. Yeah. Freaking technology. Alrighty. This is purely a rant, and it's a heads up for anyone who's technically oriented that there's a great opportunity. Today, over the last couple of days, I created my product, all very well, and the first thing that happens is I thought, okay, for a change, what I'll do is I'll use my webcam to overlay the image of me sitting here and chatting and looking all very happy because it's sunny outside, and overlay that over the screen capture. That would be quite cool, and people can see me. Excellent. Now it turns out that when you record it through Camtasia and my webcam, the system sound is now recorded on the webcam stream, but they're not synchronized. Basically, within the space of a minute or so, you've got a delay of about half a second, and after 17 minutes of recording, you can imagine how odd it looks when basically I've already stopped and I'm sitting there, with my cup of tea in hand, and I'm still talking. Mouth closed or drinking tea, and I'm still talking, because those two are not synchronized. So go out and do a little bit of research. Oh yeah, that's well known, and been well known since 2010, and fuck me, does anyone do anything about it? No. I'm kind of highlighting this because that's the first thing that happened. The freaking technology, it annoys the heck out of me when companies know. And basically, the problem is every time you press pause, or that's one of the problems. Every time you press pause in Camtasia, it records the sound for a little bit longer than the audio, and then you unpress pause, and it immediately starts recording the news stream. But of course, they're no longer aligned. So this is well known, and we don't need to do anything about it. Why should we? It's only Veit who wants to overlay his webcam over this thing. Anyway, that's the first thing. So today, we want to put all that content in a lovely membership site. So it's easy to log in, it's protected, easy to navigate, quite easy to find. Okay, what do we do? Previously, I'd used DAP, Digital Access Pass. It's a monster of a sort of protection script, does all kinds of things, and I need about 10% of it. And the other 90% actually hog a huge amount of processor resources, so as a result, it slows down the site quite a bit. So I decided, well, let's forget about DAP. I kind of know how it works, but it's a real resource hog. So Alex suggests, hey, why don't you check out Profits Theme? So, we get Profits Theme because it does everything out of the box. Except it doesn't. User management, complete pain in the ass. Sorry, today is swear word day. I'm going to have to put this PowerPoint in a special place where my children can't see it. User management is done via creating WordPress users. You can't change their access. You can't resend login details. You can't do anything of that. On top of that, it really doesn't communicate very well with PayPal. So basically, it's pre-programmed that when you use Profits theme on its own, you're going to have to like do a ton of customer service. So, all right, we go, what now? Let's go back to DAP. Of course, no. Oh, God, it's a complete and utter nightmare. Now, why am I saying this? There's two reasons, or there are two reasons. The first one is, if you are struggling with technology, if you are sitting there going, I want to do this thing from home, I want to, wherever your office is, from the cafe, from, sitting out in the forest, on your bicycle, and you're struggling with all this technology, the first thing is you're not alone. Okay, I've been doing this for years and years and years, and every single day something pops up. The second thing is, I encourage you to skip all the technology. I've got a great example. I think it was Ryan Dice. When he got started relatively early on, he had a website where he was selling Forex information. And he was thinking, right, he wanted to have it as a membership site and get people to have the illusion of signing in. And all he did was basically screen captured a login button, stuck it on there, and then he had an empty field, a form, where people had to submit their email address. And then once they're in, there's another field where they have to enter their password. There was no technology behind it. There was no actual processing and comparing of passwords. None of that. You just typed it in, and then thank you very much, you were in. Anyone could have just gone to that page and gone in. But he says, and this sticks with me today, if you're faffing around for 10 minutes with this thing, which is probably going to affect 1% of the population. So he had one guy email him and say, oh, by the way, your password thing is broken. I just typed in again, mistyped my password, and it still worked. So clearly your password thing is broken. Everyone else didn't care. So with whatever you're doing, if the stumbling block to your success at the moment is something as stupid as doing screen capture, something as stupid as getting a membership site set up, as stupid as getting WordPress up, any of these stupid technological things, stop after 10 minutes, stop after 20 minutes, hop onto Facebook, ask your friends, hop into one of the Skype groups and say, does anyone have the solution right now? And if not, skip it. Do something else. Forget about getting ripped off, okay? Most likely you won't get ripped off, and people who want to rip you off, they will rip you off anyway. You're much better off focusing your energy on something, on getting something out, getting something in front of a target audience who can say yay or nay. That is the most important thing. Like I said in the beginning, the job number one you have as an internet marketer or as a business owner who happens to be using the internet to promote and sell and to deliver their products via the internet is to develop profitable marketing channels or systems, something where you put traffic in and you generate value and get paid for it at the end. And if in the process you lose some money because some people figure out you've got an unprotected site, or if it turns out you can't have the video, so it turns out in my case I gave up on the video thing. It was just too annoying, and I could have spent a long time and fiddled with different cameras and blah blah blah. No, it's not worth it. It was a nice add-on, but it was not the core offering, and therefore it had to go out. I had to stay focused on delivering the core piece of content which provides the real value. Everything else was nice to have. Alrighty, the last one then around this freaking technology is there is an enormous opportunity. There are a ton of people who struggle with this. Just to give you an example, Aweber, I use Aweber, and I keep promising myself I will move away from Aweber, but I'm still struggling or trying to figure out what the right thing is to do that. Aweber is one of the simpler ones, and still it is so complicated that there is a real market for follow-up autoresponder type stuff for dummies, if you like. So this is not meant to be in a negative sense at all. Look at myemma.com. Okay, myemma.com aims at business owners, primarily female, who, I would say, probably in this sort of Etsy market where you're concerned with art and craft and not autoresponder stuff. And the same goes. I happen to know my Emma through a what are they called, real estate agents, realtors in Portland. I think they're Portland or Seattle. So talk to them and ask them about how they use autoresponders. They said, oh God, it's all so complicated, until we found my Emma. So there is a real market, and it's a growing market, because more and more people are coming online, and more people discover the fact that they can actually do something from home. And at the moment, the freaking technology is such a hindrance to achieving what's really important, namely generating value and getting paid for it. So if you are technologically minded or have access to resources, it's something worth looking at creating a really user-friendly, like with a wizard, for example, autoresponder service that is integrated, or one-click integrated with, for example, a membership script that is one-click integrated with a wizard that lets you design a website, with a wizard that is integrated with, for example, doing the whole optimization thing, especially across the sales funnel. Because business owners do understand all these concepts, but then you have to go out, right, customer service system, a support ticket system, an autoresponder system, and they all have their own APIs and integrate in various ways. And it's just like, if you could take away that pain, I'm not saying you recreate all of those things, but maybe a service that does all that kind of stuff for a business owner, or maybe a piece of software that says, look, this is what you're trying to achieve. Now click here, then click here, then click here, and most of it happens behind the scenes. That's a real opportunity then. Francis, that Camtasia glitch drives me crazy. Well, Francis, have a look. With Camtasia, the one thing that kind of seems to work is if I only record through the webcam, sound through the webcam, and do not record the system sound. So when you go to Camtasia, you can record two audio sources. One is the system sound, and one is the webcam directly. And when I only record the webcam and not the system sound, they seem to be fairly aligned. Alrighty, I can tell you what, if you could have a quick head scratch and type in anything that comes to mind regarding technology, anything that actually annoys you. I do this for two reasons. A, I might have a solution, or we as a group can find a solution. And secondly, I quickly need to run to the kitchen and get some more water. So give me 1 second. Alrighty, here we go. It's awesome when you walk past the mirror and you notice you've got really fluffy hair above your ears because you've had headphones on all day. Very cool. Alrighty, technical stuff. Bots trying to log in. Jane, is that bots trying to log into your site, trying to hack your site? Audio cut out. Are you still talking? Yes, I am talking. I just muted the microphone whilst I was away. So Jane, bots trying to log into your website. Yeah, okay, so for that, I would recommend. Okay, I can't recommend a specific one. There are various plugins to do WordPress hardening, if you like. If you have a WordPress site, of course. The most obvious thing is, of course, don't use admin as the admin password. That's number one. The second one is do use. I mean, absolutely make sure you use random passwords which are 20, 30 characters long. That's the first one. And apart from that, make sure it's always up to date. And then there are various different hacks for example, removing all the version numbers from both WordPress and the plugins, which is very important because typically those little hacker programs look for very specific signatures. They look, oh, I know there's a security flaw with WordPress 3.51, and therefore I'm going to hack in there. And when you remove those numbers, it's very difficult for them to, it's more difficult for them to hack in. You can also, Graham says, limit logins. It's really useful. Exactly. One of the things you can do is simply say, look, if you are logging in from this particular IP, you're good. If not, bugger off. Right, Mikael, I just made the mistake of migrating a site I was about to launch from OptimizePress 1 to 2. Sorry, Mikael. Sorry, I'm laughing. I have heard so many horrible things about OP2. Not that it doesn't look nice, but I've heard many nightmare stories. Yeah, I have to relearn everything, and there's some glitches. It has affected my time to market. Yes, exactly. Here's the thing. It's like, now you're looking at this, and the question is it worth your while? Migrating from OptimizePress 1 to 2, personally what I'd go to like Odesk and say, looking for an OP expert, go and migrate this thing for me. Thank you very much. Fixed price, 50 quid. You're done. So M%20D bond. %20 is a spacebar, isn't it? MD bond, I reckon. Very often you buy something and you become a member or open an account, etc. You log into your account, then find you have to set up another account to send a message or access support, etc. Why? It drives me nuts. Yes! Oh God, same here. I find when I sign up to a site and they already know my email address. By the way, there are the first few people, I've seen a few, and I always get excited when I see it. Who was it the other day? Send me an email saying, I'm doing a webinar. If you're interested, go to this page. And I already thought, oh, I'm going to have to log on again, give my email address again. And no, nothing. I clicked on the link and said, you are subscribed to the webinar. Very, very cool. And I think over time, that's where things are going. Incidentally, if you are a ServiceNatter member or owner, it's one of the things we'll be building in, or we're adding to it. The sort of using those smart links. So when people come to your website, it already knows your email address, and then you can get funneled into various things. Al says, I have 3 PCs in my office. Annoyance not being able to copy paste easily between them. Yes. Actually, I don't know. I know exactly what you mean. Sitting here with my iPad on the PC and just going, I want to throw it over there. Go! Exactly. Graham says, limit logins. Limit logins is a plugin. Okay, Jane. So, limit logins is a plugin in WordPress, which of course has the disadvantage. The problem with having too many plugins is, the more plugins you add, the more resources you use. Okay, so that's one of the problems. A plugin that is a software program that gets fired up when you press the go button is different. But anything that constantly scans in the background is using up resources. So, although if you're not technically minded, use limit logins and thank you very much. Then you're limited to your IP range and that's it. But if you want to do this on a number of sites, or you have a slow server or whatever, what I would suggest is you get a tech person, and they will basically fiddle with your HT access, I think it is. It's one of those little server files, and it simply tells the server, if someone comes from this range of IP addresses, they're allowed to continue. Otherwise, goodbye. See you later. By the way, can you guys read all the messages that are going into the stream? Here we go. I'm just seeing it almost looks like a conversation between. No, you can't see. Okay, all right. It was okay. It was a coincidence then. It looked like someone was saying something and someone else was responding to it. Okay, cool. So, Udo got a refund for OP2. Yes. Oh god, that is the phone. Infusionsoft seems to offer one-click registration. Yes, Infusionsoft does offer a lot of stuff, but it's also extremely complicated and not exactly cheap. So, you know, there you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, don't worry. Now everyone said no, I cannot. Don't worry. It was a pure coincidence. Let me see what it was. It was basically Jane was saying thank you very much, and Mikael right in the next line said no worries, and I thought, hang on, can they read each other's messages? No. Okay, all right. So that's the end of freaking technology. Big takeaway here is, I think the biggest one for anyone. Actually, tell me, how much of a hindrance is technology? To what extent is your progress of getting something online hindered by technology, by freaking technology? Is that a major factor, or would you say, yeah, give me a percentage? Or what do you say, of all the obstacles you're encountering, how often is it the freaking technology instead of something where you go, yeah, actually no, if only I knew. 25%. Not now, but it took me years. 20%, yes. 20. So I've got quite a few in the 20-25%. 60. Okay, cool. So it's not a huge one. 60. There you go. Newbie and just start over. Exactly. Very annoying. Well, even the 20%. I mean, I highly encourage you, when you've got one of those stumbling blocks, 20%, that's a fifth of your time. And if you're now spending a couple of hours trying to figure out how to do that synchronized voice to image, it's not worth it. Alrighty. Let's look at the next one. Evil. Alex, 10 to 20% until you actually start using freaking technology and it falls apart. Indeed, yes. Alrighty. The next one then, where I'm annoyed, is the evil sales psychology. The giant field of evil sales psychology. So, what is sales psychology? Sales psychology, in a nutshell, is working with hardwired responses. Okay, we have in our brain responses that happen on autopilot, and working with those, that is sales psychology. Now, you can get people you can exploit that. You can go in and exploit those triggers. I don't know, on one of our calls the other day, someone said they have buyer's remorse simply because they can't resist at the very end. It's 3 minutes to go, and the pressure is so high, they're going to lose out on that special launch price, and that urge is so incredibly strong, they now have to go and buy it. So that is an example of the wrong kind of sales psychology in my mind. Predatory marketing, says Francis. Yes. In the real estate space. Okay, cool. So it is basically everywhere, as we can see here. It's also in the real estate space. Now, the reason I'm bringing up evil sales psychology is, I'm totally opposed to it, but a lot of people then struggle with it. They struggle with using sales psychology because they think it's automatically evil. And really, it isn't. Udo says, blind sales copy. What does it actually do to get me onto the beach? What does blind sales? Well, it's one of those, it raises curiosity and gets you in. Now, that is the reason I'm bringing this up here. Is sales psychology inherently evil? No, it isn't. If you've got where you know what you've got is going to help people, and you now use sales psychology to get them off their butts and actually take a decision, and there's no risk involved for them, and it's really your intention to help them, then it would be silly not to use sales psychology, because these things are hardwired, and if you're not using it, someone else will. People will go out and basically buy stuff. So you might as well use it. There's no point fighting the fact that people respond to scarcity, limited things. But of course, you can't go out and say, only there's 300 of these ebooks available. It's like, why? Because you ran out of virtual ink pigment, or what? Is a sexy photo of a female evil? Absolutely not, Larry. What a silly question. No. So the first thing I want to say is, if what you've got is ethical, if your intention is to truly help people and provide value, and you have a fairly good idea that they have a good chance, a good shot at actually doing something with it, then by all means go use sales psychology and use it in the right way and feel good about it, because you're actually helping people make a decision. We are so overwhelmed with information, information overload, that basically a lot of people just run out of energy. I'm exaggerating here. They have no idea what to do, which way to look. For a lot of people, not doing anything, procrastinating on making any decision, is the one way out. So if you're using a bit of sales psychology well applied to move people forward in the right direction, it's absolutely fine. Now, it's also used in a stupid way, in my opinion. So at the moment, you may have seen these opt-in forms where you click on an ad on Facebook and then get redirected to a opt-in form, which is just an image in the background. And the opt-in form has 3 steps, and you see it at the top: step 1, 2, and 3. And the first one is basically at the top, they tell you something, and then below it there's a little survey, a questionnaire. Hey, where did you come from? Facebook, whatever, YouTube, blah blah blah. Now, the thinking behind it, okay, actually, I just realized how incredibly stupid those survey forms are, because if you're doing your job right, you should know where people came from. So, the real purpose of those surveys is, of course, to get to the good old commitment and consistency principle. So the idea is that if you commit to a cause, then you will be consistent with that choice and continue doing it. So if you are committing a little bit of resource by answering that survey, then in step 2, and this particular opt-in form then forwards you to the second step, where you enter your email address, you're now consistent with being engaged with this opt-in form. So you answer the survey, you get forwarded to step 2, you enter your email, you press go, and then step 3 says access your free download or go to the page or whatever, and you click another button. So you've got that hitting over the head. We are now exploiting the commitment and consistency principle. But really, when you think about it, okay, you obviously need to test this, but I'm willing to bet that the gains you're getting from this are fairly insignificant compared to something where you make the effort and figure out, here is something people really want to commit to. Because this is, at the moment, simply a random act of exploiting the commitment and consistency principle. If you don't know what the commitment and consistency principle is, go and read Cialdini. Okay, it is you must read Cialdini, simply because these are the fundamental hardwired responses people follow, and they're all described in that book. So Cialdini Influence is a must read. Commitment and consistency is basically taken out of context. You're not committing to anything in particular apart from clicking a button. So the gains you're getting will be fairly insignificant to something where you figure out what are the fundamentals, what are the fundamental reasons why a person is here, what is the true problem they're facing, and they want solved in their lives, they really want to get rid of. If you get that and get them to take a small step towards getting that solution, the gains will be so much more than the stupid application of, hey, look here. And I know why they're out there, because someone tested, hey, I'm getting better results when I get people clicking and then clicking. It's like in the good old days where people went in a sales conversation, you want someone nodding repeatedly. So you start with something, hey, it's nice weather today, isn't it? And they nod. And then you go, you've got a green pair of trousers. And they nod again because they're wearing green pair of trousers. And then go, hey, and here, buy my $3 million this. And they go, no, screw you. Like, oh, something went wrong here. Anyway. Alrighty, Marty says, why do some reward buyers for trying to click off a page with a lower price? Yes. Today is pissed off day, okay? I'm pissed off about those things as well. So in general, actually not in general, I buy very few courses these days, but uh, quite often I go to one and I click the close button, actually not in order to test whether there's a cheaper offer, but quite often there is one. I'm going, all right, this is, now I'm going in and buying. So yeah, imagine, I mean, actually for everyone, the intention behind it, of course, is that you feel, oh, now it's a really special thing, and you're going to sign up for this. Incidentally, I'll tell you something about this in a second. Tell me about product launch formula and last minute buying. So the intention behind it is to, capture the buyer and think they have a special offer. But I am totally like you. Actually, there are two things here. I am totally like you, and I am pissed off because I'm thinking, hey, look, you first want to squeeze $47 out of me, and now suddenly it's 27 just because I clicked the buy button. It's like, damn. So point number one, I am just like you, Marty. Very important that when you go out and whatever niche you're going into, you ignore the fact that you find this annoying. And personally, I find it annoying as well, because your buyers are not like you in most cases. They will be, might be trigger happy, clickers who get so excited by getting this $20 discount that they jump in and buy it straight away. So there is just no knowing how people are going to react. That's the first thing. And secondly, or to give you another way of looking at it, is I don't get this whole sharing of I've just brushed my teeth and I've done something really stupid on Facebook. I just don't get it. Does that mean Facebook doesn't work? No. Facebook provides apparently a tremendous value to over 1 billion people. And I just don't get it. Now, does that mean I shouldn't be doing Facebook advertising? No, I should. Absolutely. Because there are a lot of people who like my stuff on Facebook. I just have to get over the hurdle that most people are probably not like you and me. Which brings me to product launch formula. All right, my personal experience with doing promotions, and I did a promotion for product launch formula many years ago when I was still a valued affiliate for Jeff Walker. That has all changed. He's fired me as an affiliate. Do you want to know the story why I got fired by Jeff Walker as an affiliate? I don't know. Maybe you already know it. Yes? Okay. So, Jeff Walker, Product Launch Formula, I was an affiliate, promoted for him, made some sales, all very cool. And then I thought, okay, now I've got a website. This was in my good old SEO days. Okay, look, little side story which you might enjoy. So this was in the good old days of doing SEO and doing it in the sense of all you needed was backlinks. So I hired a company in the Philippines to do backlinking for me. And I said, optimize my site for the term Product Launch Formula. And in those days, basically people took an article, spun it, and then built backlinks. And of course, these guys had no idea what product launch formula means, and they didn't really know their job too well either. So they spun everything, including the anchor text product launch formula. And when I saw the reports that then had things like service explosion system or something like that instead of product launch formula, I thought, all right, it's time to let go of this particular SEO company. So that's the side story about SEO done in a very wild way. Back to why I got fired. So I had my site and a good stream of traffic for product launch formula. So at that time, Jason Fladlian and his buddy Wilson Matos came out with a mini course on how to do product launch formulas. So I thought, okay, I tell you what, I'll build a list of buyers who are interested in this, because anyone who is interested in something around product launch formula has, is clearly interested in the subject, so they're probably more likely to then pick up the bigger copy later on. So the idea was I would go and promote Jason Fladlin's course and build a list of those buyers, and then once the new version of Product Launch Formula comes out, I'd promote Product Launch Formula. And for some, I don't know how, probably using Google Alerts or something, Jeff Walker found this out, that I'm using praying to other gods besides him, and I was instantly fired. And by the way, he still owes me a big fat commission check, so he kept all that, and I got fired. Anyway, now we can unloop all of this and come back to my insight about product launches. In general, and this is based only on my own experience, if you are selling something as an affiliate, the refund rate you're getting from people who buy at the very, very last minute is a lot higher than those who buy right at the beginning. Those who are excited and truly excited about the project or the product and really want to dig in and get this thing going, they have a much lower refund rate, and once again, this is with a disclaimer, this is only based on my personal experience, than those who at the end go, I can't deal with the pressure, the psychological pressure is so high, I need to buy it. So there you go. That is my insight into product launch formula and evil, stupid sales psychology, because now you've got effectively you've got two different target demographics, and really you have to measure lifetime value across those two. Those who bought in the beginning of your launch and those who bought at the end, and figure out, what is the actual value of that kind of traffic. Alrighty, how are we doing? Oh God, we've been over an hour, and this was going to be a 20-minute rant. To do with evil sales psychology, and I can cut this short here, having to please everyone, trying to please, it is kind of the reverse. It's not using evil sales psychology, it's basically self-imposed psychology. The one thing I've observed over and over again with working with tons of small businesses is they all go, when you ask them, hey, who am I trying to reach? Well, everyone. And then you jump through all these hoops to please everyone. And as a result, you're not really pleasing anyone in a particular way. You now go out and serve orange juice because that seems to be the juice that pleases most people. Well, when I come in, I want a damn espresso. I don't want an orange juice. Give me an espresso. So I'm kind of not very pleased. And the people who want their champagne, they're not very pleased either, etc., etc., etc. So having to please everyone, if you can get that out of your mind and actually do the reverse, and it is connected here, although it looks a little bit random, everything we're talking about today, it's all connected. Forget about the idea that you need tons of traffic. You need very targeted traffic to very targeted individual sales funnels or marketing funnels. Okay, sales funnel is misnomer. Most people confuse marketing funnel or marketing and selling. They're different. So everything you're doing with your marketing is to target as small a group as possible and really please that particular target audience and basically ignore everyone else. And no one's going to be angry at you because you ignored them. They'll just go somewhere else. But we don't care about them because they weren't a good fit in the first place. And the last point I've got here is, and this is not really pissed off about at all, this is a slight rant if you like. So the one thing I keep seeing over and over again is that people come to a free training and then there's content, and then if you're lucky it's good content, and at the end there is a pitch. And without fail, and I've seen this in real life, like people at a live seminar, sitting next to me, the person who gets up and almost shouts into the room, I didn't come here to get pitched at. And I'm going, well, you're bloody, today we can swear, you're a bloody idiot. Because you are supposedly in the selling profession. You are doing marketing, you try to sell stuff, whether it's your own or other people's stuff. And here you are saying, I didn't come here to be sold to. So the one thing that is of probably the biggest value, namely seeing someone else, possibly an expert at selling, in action, you now turn around and leave. Like, the one opportunity to see a real-life case study, you're wasting by getting up and standing in your own way. So my real take is, if you're so stupid that you get offended by other people selling and you observing them, you probably should not be in the selling profession. Now, there are two things in here. The first one is the real-life case study. What I'm really annoyed with is, and by the way, if you're now thinking, haha, that was just a sneaky marketing ploy by Veit to pre-frame any sale coming up, there ain't none. Okay, today is just content. So, what really annoys me is with a lot of the training courses out there, they are based on someone taking their own experience and then summarizing it in a very nice, so we kind of take it high level and iron out all the kinks and remove all the obstacles and the warts and all the ugly stuff. And what's left is basically the sanitized version of the process you went through of getting to the point where you're at. And those step-by-step programs, and I understand the reason behind it. I mean, if you want to condense the entire experience of doing Facebook advertising over the last 5 years into a 1-hour course, you have to leave out stuff. The end result is that you end up with a step-by-step program that inevitably throws up all kinds of obstacles for those who are going through it. And that's kind of my real thing here, that people are leaving out the bad stuff. And so my encouragement to you is, if you're doing any kind of information, I'm not talking specifically in information marketing in the internet marketing space, whatever you're doing, a lot of people would actually really benefit from seeing the warts, the ugly stuff, all the failures you had, and figuring out why you had those failures and what you did to overcome those failures. Because those are all mistakes they don't have to make themselves. I'll give you a very specific example. The other day I got Don Wilson's Facebook ads cracked thing. Now he's got a piece of software in there, and it generates a few dozen variations of an image you put in. So you upload your little image, and it puts frames around it, and it puts a question mark over it, question mark which then gets interpreted as a whatever video play button, etc. Now it turns out, for example, the question mark occupies a significant part of real estate. Now, according to Facebook's guidelines, an image can only contain 10 or 20% of text. If it's more text than that, then it gets booted, it gets thrown out. Now, it turns out the way they calculate the amount of space that's occupied by text, and I didn't know this, is that they kind of put a grid over the image, and if a certain number of those little squares in that grid contain the text, or they basically count which percentage of those squares contains text. And it doesn't have to be pure text, it just needs to have like 1 pixel of that particular piece of text, then that entire grid is considered polluted by text. And if that goes above a certain number, 10, 20%, then the entire ad gets thrown out because it contains too much text. Now, that is something that wasn't in Don's course. What's worse, it's actually in his tool. His tool creates ads which are, by definition, illegal. And if you're lucky, you get them approved. If you're unlucky, you're not. So, that in itself was a nuisance enough, but it'd been so much more useful for him to say, look, by the way, if you don't get them approved, this is why, and you can now take this when creating your own ads. The percentage is calculated the following way. Put a grid of 3 by 3 over it, and thank you very much. So there you go. That is my long-winded rant around this, which I'm going to wrap up with this point here. When we look at all the failures and all the successes and the step-by-steps, pretty much everything that's taught out there and that's sold, certainly in a sales letter or from a sales letter's perspective, is everything is focused on the wrong end. It's focusing on the outcome. You will make 6 figures or 7 figures. You will have the yacht. You will have the 15 babes. You will have the fast car. Blah blah blah. And I understand why it's done, because in the sense of sales psychology, no one likes hard work. Everyone wants push button, and this is not aimed at all at the IM community. I mean, look at weight loss, look at dating. Everyone is looking for secrets and tricks and shortcuts. Of course they do. I do. All these different things. For example, I've got a broken finger, right? I broke my finger 6 weeks ago. It's incredibly stiff. I have to do really painful exercises to get this thing moving. I go to physiotherapy every evening. I really wish there was an injection I could ram in there, short piece of pain, and thank you very much. And that's why sales letters are focused on outcome. However, also most training courses are then focused on the outcome. When you do this and this and this and this and all the other steps in between, then you'll get that outcome. And of course, most people get totally overwhelmed with those long things they have to build up over a long time to achieve those goals at the end. So maybe as a little takeaway, in terms of goal setting, if you're not quite where you're hoping to be, focus on the path and being aware of where you run into obstacles. And the moment you do that, your expectations change, your frustrations change, because you're constantly hopping from one success to another. Oh, look, I've overcome another obstacle, as opposed to, you know what, I'm now 1% closer to my overall goal. Oh God, that's a bit frustrating, isn't it? So there you go. That is my rant for the day. My 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 points on all the stuff that's annoying me. And now it's open mic. Any thoughts, any points, any observations, anything? Robin, a while ago, was looking for a specific capability in a WordPress plugin that gets around an issue with SEO keyword domains. There wasn't one. Asked on several WordPress platforms, so went and built one. With no previous experience in internet marketing, how do I start to take it to market? All right, Robin. Let's just hope there are enough people like you who have that same issue. Robin, do you have your microphone? Can you speak? Because if you can, do you want to talk? If you guys are interested, what we could do is do a quick case study. We'll just have a quick go at this. Robin, if you want to talk, okay, cool. I will find you in the list, and then we're going to unmute you. All right, how we're going to do that? Oh, look, it's alphabetical. Robin, you are on the air. You're unmuted.
Okay.
Cool. So, Robin, explain to us what the issue was and what it does. And for everyone else, you have to decide whether that is of interest to you or not. Okay, Robin, go.
I was doing some work for a local business.
Yep.
Who had previously outsourced their SEO to their web host, who had then pushed it to India.
Yes.
They were a specialist builders, focusing on listed buildings and things along those lines.
Okay.
The backlinks that were built for them were all about porch companies miles and miles and miles away, different part of the country.
Yeah.
So we did a little bit of work for them, reassessing what they needed to do, and in part, they were not being searched for what Google searches for them. Nothing relevant at all.
Yeah.
But if I put widget in there, I could guarantee getting on top of the page for widget or something like that.
Yeah.
So we went geographic, and one of the ways we were looking at doing that was to get some geographic-based domains around listed buildings and things along those lines.
Yeah.
The problem was with a WordPress site, there was no plugin that was going to automatically redirect after a certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So DNS forward was basically being marked down by Google because there was no content on the site.
Yeah.
But it was what people were searching for. So it was appearing, but then being marked down. What we wanted was something that was going to put up, in effect, a single page of their geographic keyword domain website, and then after so many seconds, forward to the main builder's site.
Okay.
Couldn't find that anywhere. So we went out and built one.
Okay. So, cool. Now we need to find out, is anyone else... Okay, this is Robin, all right? Don't go... I have no idea what the response is going to be. We're just doing a quick bit of market research now for everyone on the... let's see. Okay, here's a couple of questions. Larry says, is it a timer that redirects?
Say again?
Is it a timer that redirects?
There is a timer that redirects, but in effect, the keyword domain site has 1-2 pages. It can be as complicated as you like.
Yeah.
And you can put the plugin on any page with a shortcode.
Yeah.
You can time it for as long or as little as you like. You can set up a pop-up that takes forms to capture email addresses if you want. So if I read the first bit about the keyword domain, I
Yeah.
like that. Up comes a pop-up, I put in my name and address and all the rest of the stuff that goes with it.
Yeah.
Hit submit, it will automatically go to the new site if that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Or it will, if I don't want to put my name and address in, it will just go back to the main site, and after X seconds, selectable,
Yeah.
off it goes to the new site.
Okay, cool. So that's
And
what it does.
can be to any other page. It doesn't have to be to my site, another site. It can be to any page within a site.
Okay, so it's a clever redirect script which answers Alex's question. Surely Webmaster Tools will deal with this. I guess Webmaster Tool is at a domain level. This one is individual. Each and every single page we can redirect anywhere after a given time. Very cool.
Yep.
So here is the survey then. Da, 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 da. Who on the call thinks this is something they want? Type yes, and if you think no, you don't have any use for it, type no. I just want to get a feel for this. Yes. No. No, no, no. Da, da, da. Come on, I've got about 200 more responses. Maybe, not today, perhaps. Yes. Okay. Alrighty. So, in general, Robin then. Actually, I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to mute you again now.
Okay.
Alright, cool. I'm only muting you because there's an evil echo on the call, and if I need to talk to you again, I will. So overall, what I'm seeing here is a small number of yeses, mostly no's, and a couple of maybes. So you have built and this is not meant to be a criticism at all. It's just feedback. This is how a lot of people go about creating a product. They go, oh, I've got a problem here. I'll build a solution, and now I'm going to try to sell it. And that is really the better mousetrap approach, because if you now go out and say, here was my problem, here's my solution, thank you very much, it's hard. Well, you might be lucky. Okay, in this case, on this particular call, you weren't lucky. There weren't enough takers, but you might find a good traffic source where enough people go, yay, cool. And that's why it's so incredibly important to really get into your prospects' minds first. And one of the best ways of doing it is to do if you have an idea like this, and you can now do exactly what I'm telling you to do. If you have an idea or an existing product like this, you can go to potential traffic sources and just stick the idea up there and say, hey, who would be interested in this? I first saw this years and years ago, an example by Russell Brunson. He had a website or a web page that says, hey, are you interested in shooting potato guns? Apparently that's a big thing in Idaho. You take a barrel, put some accelerant at the bottom, put a potato in, light the damn thing, and boom, off goes the flying French fry. But he didn't have the product. He just said there was a single page, are you interested in this? And if so, leave your email address here and we'll send you a nice little freebie, the report or whatever, when it's ready. And if you have got any main questions, what's your main question? And back then I thought, surely no one is going to respond to this. And surely, like the conversation Marty and I had earlier, when in your mind, surely this is not going to work, you have to jump over that and just go, look, I'm going to do it. So my suggestion now is find a couple of traffic sources where you think this might be a good fit. So you could go for the Warrior Forum War Room if you're familiar with the Warrior Forum. I would certainly think about my target audience and, for example, offliners, and go to Facebook. What you might do is go to various JV groups on the Facebook and just chat to them and say, hey, what do you think your target audience, your offline list, if you have an offline list, might think about this? Because this seems to be, well, actually, it's not necessarily offline. I can see the application offline, but surely, for example, I personally don't do any stuff like CPA, but I could see how it might be useful in something like that. So anyway, there are different applications, and the important thing now is to do a quick and dirty test. Just put an offer up and say, look, we've got something cool. It does roughly this. what are your main questions around this? What would you want? And forget about incentivizing. If you put up a huge prize and say, if you give me your answer, I will come over and massage your foot and you can marry my sister. Well, now people give you answers because they want to marry your sister. Really, you want to get people to answer because they're interested. And by putting something out there, it's like, if you're interested, respond. You'll very quickly see if there's enough interest to make it worth your while. Because launching a product is actually quite a bit of work. So, it's stressful. You have to deal with all kinds of stuff. If you haven't seen, are you in the Loves group, Loves Facebook group? There's a giant graph. I think I sent it out to the entire list, didn't I? That giant mind map of what's involved in launching a product. So it's quite a bit. Larry, he already has a product. Yeah, needs to find the audience. Unfortunately, that is the wrong way around. The best way. I mean, yeah, if you already have the product, you now have to think, is it worth my while? Is it worth going out? And for example, if you were to say, look, I just want to go on the Warrior Forum now and make a big splash. Reality without track record, a plugin like this, you probably can't sell for a huge amount. So it's a low-ticket item, and therefore, because again it's easy to replicate, you can go on Odesk or whatever and have this redone in a very short amount of time. So it's not something that's going to sell for a huge amount of money, unless you deliver kick-ass training with it, for example. But overall, in order to sell this, you now have to sell it at a low commission or a low price, meaning you have to give away high commission. Probably in the range between 75 or 100%, because if you're not very well known on the Warrior Forum, I'm just using the Warrior Forum as an example, so you're giving away a lot of money to affiliates. So the question is, how many of these copies can you sell? Well, look at the average number of plugins that are being sold, and what you're seeing there is the really, really, really big guys. They sell a couple of thousand at the moment. Warrior Forum the traffic has gone down quite a bit, so a couple of thousand copies. Let's be realistic. It's a first-time launch. You don't really have, I don't know if you do, great relationships with affiliates, etc. So, if you're really lucky, it'll be between 500 and 2,000 and 1,000. You're giving away most of the money there, so you're now left over with a profit of maybe a couple of thousand. Is that really worth? And remember, you're also giving around about 10%, just under 10% to JVZoo and PayPal. Combine those two. Take for low ticket items because of the minimum fees, you're given around 9.7%. So the question is it even worth it if you're thinking about the Warrior Forum? If you think this is something that has broader appeal and you can take to ClickBank or sell directly through Facebook advertising, sure, that's a different question. I'm just trying to point out, when you take the approach of, I've got something here and let me see if I can sell it, you have to find the right kind of traffic, and that can mean a lot of searching. Whereas if you start with a proven audience who are proven to buy a particular type of thing or who are proven to have a particular problem, it is often easier to go in and figure out which of their problems hasn't been solved yet, and then create a product around that solves their problem. Now, you might, with your particular thing, might take a dual approach and say, look, I kind of have this thing and I can build on it. Now let me find an audience that has a problem that is partially addressed by what I've got, and then we kind of meet in the middle. So let me have a look at the comments here. So Mikael says, maybe he described features but not the problems that can be solved by this feature that might help. Yes, of course. At the end of the day, in the sales funnel and in the identifying the target audiences, we need to look at that. Go away from the features and look at the problems. So, okay, Robin. Okay, response by Robin. This was actually built to solve a problem, not to market. But having got it, can it be marketed? Yeah, of course it can be marketed. Whether it sells, whether it's a big seller, is a different question. So yeah, sure, you can market it. And my suggestion is, rather than worry about the big giant launch and making thousands and thousands, what I do is a test campaign. Set aside a couple of hours, think of a couple of places where you can just put the feelers out and say, would you be interested? And if enough people are interested, you say, come on in, I'll tell you about it. Mikael says, what kind of people might find that plugin useful? Offline businesses, large corporations with branches in different cities. I don't know. Well, here's the thing. You might say, look, this happens to be secret sauce. It's a proprietary software solution which we only give to customers who buy the big package, like the whole offline consulting package. Boom. And then you've got something totally different. And you can't even buy this separately for $17. David! Alright, Almania had to drop off. Thanks again. Yes. Marty says needs a better verbal sales letter. Yeah, no, it's okay. No, Robin did a good job. He explained what it was, and of course, you refine it over time. But overall, the big piece of advice here is do a quick campaign, just reach out to a couple of people and say, are you interested? In this particular example, you did, and this group said, primarily no. And anyone who wants to get in contact, those who said yes and maybe, Robin, if you type in your email address, I'll send it to the group, and everyone who wants to get into contact with you can. Alrighty, my wife is just coming back and she is about to kill me, so I'm going to take one final question. And that is David O'Neill. I have a question about preparing for product launch, platforms and JV recruitment. David, shoot. Do you want to talk or type? Talk. David O'Neill. Let's find David. There we go. David, you're on the air.
Hello there.
Hey there.
Two questions.
Sure.
I actually have a few products. One's developed mostly, and the other couple sort of are in a planning stage. They're basically done. They're just not written up.
Yeah.
The first one is more or less a PDF, and it may have some supplemental PDFs. I doubt that I'll put a video together, but I might have some type of upsell for some extra videos for sales. What kind of a delivery platform should I look at? I mean, right now I'm on a relatively simple kind of shared server situation. Is there a way to not have to go out and buy a, VPS or something? Or, I mean, is there some way to just get a good launch platform that I can rent?
What are you expecting in terms of sales? What is the PDF about?
Well, the first one I expect probably, this is a small PDF. I think that I already have a way to deliver it from S3 effectively. But the other ones are maybe more, hopefully in the 1,000 zone or more.
Okay.
They would have video components that people would watch, I believe.
Yeah, okay. So, personally, Amazon S3. Okay, just a PDF. My experience is for a few thousand PDFs, don't worry. Go with your shared hosting. For the last launch, the Survey Snatcher, we had, for the first time, some fancy, super fancy standalone server. Previously, it was always been some form of shared hosting, including like the super cheap HostGator 495 hosting, and never really had any problems. I mean, even with like membership registering and all that kind of thing. If you're using something as a hog, a resources hog like DAP, yes, then I would use. Actually, if I had some, are you planning to do a membership site where people have to register?
I do have the setup to be able to do that, and I was thinking that for the second product, which is basically about gamification, which I think will have a longer tail for maybe membership, and that I might do it that way, or I would take it to a private group and then do upsells or whatever else and consulting through the private group on a Facebook page.
Okay.
Like you're doing.
So
one or the other.
What I would do, isn't that cool? What I would do without knowing how many people are going to hit this page, etc. But I'm going to give you the rough outline. If there is a danger that your server might crash because so many people register through whatever it is, Wishlist or DAP or any of these membership scripts, what I would do is have one server where you have just your sales page and the payment process. So that could be and should be just an HTML page. Because the bottleneck here is tons of traffic hitting your website or your sales page, but only a small percentage is going to convert. Now, when I say small, hopefully it'll be like 20, maybe 30%, but it's not everyone who hits the sales page is going to convert. So the majority of those people will read the sales letter, load the sales letter once, and then they disappear. Thank you very much. Tip number 1, absolutely install retargeting codes so you can retarget them later on Facebook. Okay, so go Perfect Audience, for example, get that code, stick it on there. It doesn't cost you anything to collect people. It only costs you to promote to them later on. So that's number 1. Do that on a plain HTML page on a, depending on the amount of traffic you expect, do a dedicated server. I personally, we use Liquid Web. Liquid Web, I think they're called Liquid Web.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, okay. The beauty there is you can rent a server for a month, and then thank you very much. That's it. So you spend $100 on a nice SSD drive, standalone. Here's my server, and after a month you say thank you very much. Migrate everything over to your shared hosting because the big launch spike is gone. That's all taken care of. If you want to go down Liquid Web, talk to me. Because they're not quite as straightforward to set up on the back end as, for example, HostGator. They don't have cPanel out of the box, and it's a little bit of extra faffing to get that going. But their customer service is very good. But if you want to go down that route, talk to me. Sean says Insti hosting, do an expandable deal for high traffic spikes during launches, etc. A bit like Liquid Web, because you can go in and add more servers for launch. We never went anywhere near the capacity of this thing, and we had tens of thousands of hits. So absolutely fine. We even did the whole download and everything on the same server, and it was not a problem at all. So if you're expecting some major piece of traffic, go for Liquid Web or Insti hosting or whatever, one of these, and any of the big stuff that needs to be delivered, put on Amazon S3, and that's it.
And so you think that a membership site really that won't matter as much if I'm in the couple hundred zone?
That should be absolutely fine.
As long as the deliverables are out on the cloud.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. What about finding JVs?
Here is the answer you're not going to like, but it is the true answer. Go and build relationships. Go to seminars, meet people, buy them drinks, approach them. The other day, someone actually, this should have been in my talk today. The P-of-ness here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and add that. And that is promote my kids are back in the house. Incidentally, I'm in the house at the moment because our lovely office is being torn down. So it was awful. It truly was awful. That office building, the installation was so bad that in summer I was sitting there in my underwear and a t-shirt, and in winter I had an electric heater between my legs, and so it's from the 50s, basically nothing between the outside and me. So the last point is, thank you for reminding me, promote my shit. Okay, I get these emails all day long from people who are well-meaning and ill-informed. I mean, they go, oh, I see you have a list, can you promote my shit? And I'm going, seriously? Sometimes I'm a little bit offensive just to wake them up, because these are obviously mass emails that go out. And I ask them, so do you seriously consider me? And it's like, why do you choose this? And without fail, it's because some guru has told them, hey, all you need to do is reach out to the other gurus with big lists and they'll promote for you. No, it ain't going to happen. So if you don't have time right now, and you want to launch fairly soon, to or you don't have time to go to conferences and start building relationships, that all takes time. The one thing I can highly recommend is that you find people who have related products and actually buy those products. Go through those products, get to know them. What are they all about, and then possibly, the ideal thing you can do is basically make them a success story. If you can show someone you've taken their training and you're now a success because you took their training, that is an awesome case study for them. They can use that as a testimonial. Second thing is you just write a testimonial, obviously, ideally, having done the thing.
And I have done that for a number of people already.
Okay, cool. So
And I do know a number of people on, and this is an offliner. These are both offliner products, well, mostly. And I do know a number of people that in that vein that sell those things that I've actually personally talked to.
Okay, perfect.
In person.
So okay, then the next thing is you have to understand they get these emails all day long. I get these emails all day long. So if you go in and say, look, we've spoken once, would you mind promoting this thing? The answer is, in most cases, no. Some are more polite, some less. What can work is if you think about how to get them involved. If you can say, look, I'm launching this thing and I would love to have a bonus for my download page. So what you're then getting signups, or hey, I'm still working on the back end and was wondering if you had something. Now you get people interested because there's something in it for them. Just promoting, to be honest, you can promote stuff left, right, and center, and you're more likely to, because the commissions are pretty much the same everywhere. So they're probably more likely to go and promote that for their friends. That's it. So, but if you get people in and are going to get someone involved in the sense of, hey, look, I'd like to have some cool stuff for the download page, or we're doing this for charity, whatever their thing is, I'd like to, do an interview with you as a bonus, that kind of stuff. That starts building a relationship, gets them interested, and then, they're much more likely to have a look at this and go, yeah, sure, I'll recommend this to my list, as long as it's, of course, awesome stuff.
Right.
Norbert says, do freebies. I'm not sure which freebies. If you mean freebies for them, yes, it's something you can do as well. It's like, hey, I've got something here, no strings attached, for your list. But the moment you do freebies for someone else, it's instantly like, okay, what's in it for you? Why are you doing this? Because you want me to promote your stuff, or what's going on? So number one would be go to conferences, meet people, hit them up, get chatting on Skype, or get chatting on Facebook. I've done promotions for people where we chatted for ages on Skype about all kinds of stuff, never business, just kids and weather and sheep and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
That's mine. Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
So send me an email. I'd love to know more about what you're doing there.
Sure. What's the email address?
Find any of my emails and hit reply, and then you're good.
Okay, great. Okay.
Reply to fight@googlemail.com.
Sure, I'll send you a link to the product.
Yeah, cool.
Sure.
Alrighty. So that, unfortunately, was the last question I could take, unless there is one super urgent. So thank you, David. Larry says, kiss my wife and enjoy your dinner. Yeah, it's not dinner time yet. It's now it's time to go to the physio and have my finger tortured. Alrighty. Well, cool. I hope you enjoyed this. It was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, and maybe the recording even worked. And God, there was nothing for sale at the end. Isn't that terrible? I'm a terrible marketer. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Sell something. Alrighty, cool. I'll speak to you soon. Oh, by the way, there is something for sale tomorrow. Alrighty, see you then. Bye.